Today is May the 3rd, 2017. I'm Keith Moore, and welcome to another episode of Homeless in Titusville. And today I'm being joined by, what is your name, sir?
My name is Caleb Maceman. I'm 27 years old, and I'm homeless by choice in Titusville.
Really? Homeless by choice?
Yes, I am.
Explain that. Like, most of us wouldn't choose to live this way.
Well, I like living out here in the woods and whatnot. I don't really have to worry about drama and stuff, and well, I lived a roller coaster of a life, many ups and downs and everything, and living out in the woods has always been more peaceful, and it's always kept me off drugs and stuff like that right there because, you know, I have to survive to be out here. I don't have time to go out and get high or do stuff like that right there, you know. It gives me an opportunity to be closer to nature, and, you know, I sit outside and I watch the hogs and I watch the birds and I watch the deer all the time, and there's just an abundance of little forest creatures out here for me to enjoy for my mornings.
But how are you feeding yourself? How, do you have a cell phone? Do you have an Obama phone? I mean, like, do
I
you
have
bills?
a cell phone, yes. And as for bill-wise, really, I don't really have to buy water much. I get my water from parks and wherever I can get public water supply and stuff like that right there. And food, I go out and I do side jobs. I've always done side jobs my whole life. I dropped out of high school at a young age, so I wasn't really able to get, a good job.
Do you have food stamps? Do you go to churches?
I used to go to food banks and churches and stuff like that right there, and I used to get food stamps, but I stopped receiving food stamps because I work so long during the week doing other jobs, so I can make money for food and supplies that I need, like propane and stuff, that I can't afford to do the community service that they want me to do on the computers and all that, turning in job applications that they want me to do, because they want me to do like 40-something hours a week.
So you were talking about that previously you had issues with substances and stuff like that. Now, do you drink? Do you have any bad habits?
I drink, and I smoke weed from time to time, and really that's about it, besides smoking cigarettes. From the age of, let's see, I started doing hardcore drugs about the age of 13. I started snorting cocaine and smoking crack. So from there, I just continued to smoke dope until I was about, I want to say 16 years old, in which I got turned on by needles. Wow. And then I started shooting up for years, and I lost a lot of trust with my family and everything. A lot of people think, I live out in the woods because I lost all that trust with my family, and my family.
Does your family talk to you?
Yeah, my family talks to me, and they realize that I stay clean and stuff like that. They don't like the fact that I smoke weed and drink, but they're very Christian people, and they'll just always be that way.
You told me something very interesting that I'd actually run across your brother. His name's Valen, and I did an interview with him.
Yes.
And what did you think of that interview? Was he truthful with me? Like, how did you feel about that?
There was some truth behind what he said, but really there was not a lot of truth. And I don't like to shoot him down and everything because I wish the best for my brother. And in the interview, he dogged out a few people. He didn't mention their names, but he was talking about me and my mother and everything. He's my biological brother, and I was adopted out of the family at such a young age.
You guys didn't grow up together. He stayed with your biological mom and dad, and you were raised by your aunt and uncle?
I was raised by my aunt and uncle. Well, at the time, my biological mother, she had my brother Valen and my brother Cameron, and she couldn't afford to take care of me too, because she was going through divorce with my biological father and everything, because he would beat her and stuff like that right there. And the divorce and everything, and through all that stuff that was going on, she just couldn't afford to take care of me, so they put me up for adoption, and my aunt and uncle were trying to have a kid, and they were unsuccessful, and they decided to adopt me.
So your mother, so your mother chose, it sounds to me like your mother chose which children she would keep and which ones she was putting up for adoption, and did that hurt? I mean, do you think about that? Does that
think
bother
about
you?
that a lot, and my mom, she really did not want to put me up for adoption when she was pregnant with me. She wanted to keep me, but she was faced with, she couldn't afford it. She would have lost her other kids and everything.
But why did she keep Valen and Cameron versus you? I mean, like, how come it wasn't one of them that were sent to live with your aunt and uncle? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
why were you chosen?
I understand that. Well, I suppose it was just the time that everything was happening and everything. It was just a bad time all around, and at the time, my aunt and uncle, they were trying to have a kid, and it was unsuccessful, and when they adopted me, shortly after they adopted me, they were actually able to have a kid. So I have a brother who's a firefighter, but he's actually my cousin. But I was raised as his brother.
Right. And where does he work? Where is he a fireman at?
He was a fireman over, I forget which fire station it is. It's someone in Port St. John. His name's Jacob Maceman. He's a really awesome person.
Port St. John. And where did you grow up? Where did you go to high school at?
I grew up here in Titusville, right off of Knox McRae. Went to Coquina Elementary. I went to Imperial Estates. Went to Jackson Middle. I went to THS. I've been to all them schools, and I just dropped out at the beginning of the 10th grade. I was having issues with the principal and stuff, and I had got expelled previously for buying weed in school.
Do you have a GED, or do you have any other further education?
I do not have a GED at all. I've been working on getting my GED, but I have issues with a 5-paragraph essay. I try to write them. It's like I get tied up in the middle of the test or something like that, and then I can't figure it out, and I don't know how to fix that.
Do you think you had learning disabilities as a kid?
I definitely did. I was in SLD classes, and I was testing borderline genius, but it takes me so long to learn the information. I had to go to severe learning disability classes because I was a very slow learner. So everything I've learned in my life, I've always had to do hands-on. So all the work that I do, from doing masonry and ceramic tile and carpentry all the way up to doing small electronics and putting in windows and all that stuff right there, I've always had to learn hands-on.
So you told us about your mom, your dad, and your brother and stuff. How about personally? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have any children of your own?
Well, no, I've been struggling recently and whatnot. Moving up to, I've been all over the country. I've been to Tennessee, Alabama, Kentucky, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and I've all up around that area, all the way around Lake Michigan. I've been to all them, and in my travels and whatnot, I don't have a girlfriend or nothing. I've never been in an area long enough or been able to keep a girlfriend, because once they find out I live in the woods, they're like, oh, I don't want to be with somebody who lives in the woods.
Yeah.
So
most women want a stable environment, a stable home life. You know, and I would imagine the women that would probably be your girlfriend would be other fellow homeless people, with multitudes of issues, and you probably wouldn't want them in your life. It would just, complicate your life even more. So I picked you up today, a mile or so from your camp here. Were you working today? Like
I
what
was
brought you out
supposed to
there?
go to work today, and I went out there where you picked me up to actually go to work. And the people I was working for, they ended up starting to have, the roofers were working on their roof, and I couldn't do none of the work. Right now I'm into lawn maintenance and building gardens and stuff like that for people, so I couldn't work in our garden because they were tossing shingles and destroying it for me. So I won't have work until the end of the week, and it's a struggle out here when you don't have work, but because
do you have a bike? Like, did you take the bus? Like, how do you
my
even
bike
get to
just got stolen.
Just got stolen.
Yeah, and it really sucks because I went out there with the intention of riding the bike back, and that's why you ended up picking me up and seeing me, because, yeah.
Right. So
I'm upset about that.
how about some other things that you have that complicate getting a steady work? I mean, do you want steady work? Do you want a full-time job?
I would love steady work and a full-time job. It's hard for me to hold a full-time job with living in the woods because I gotta maintenance stuff out in the woods, and I don't have an address.
And how about your run-ins with law enforcement? Do you have any kind of a record?
I went to jail one time. I was working for a lawn company. I'm not going to give out the name of the lawn company, but I was working for a lawn company, and I was pulling truck and trailer, and I was in Tavares. And earlier I had mentioned that I smoke weed. Well, I had some really good smelling weed on me. I didn't realize I had some that I'd already smoked on in my cigarette pack, and when I got pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt, I pulled out my cigarette pack, opened it up, and the cop looked at me and asked me if I had anything illegal on me, and I don't like to lie. I was like, apparently, yes, I do. I think I have a joint roach in my cigarette pack. Lost my job that day, and I was on probation for 8.5 months. I completed all the probation and everything, And the last week I was on probation, they violated me, and I went to Brevard County Jail for 3 days, where they extradited me all the way over to Lake County, where I spent 30 days in jail. Other than that, my arrest record's clean. I've never been to jail. It's the only time I've ever been to jail. And I try to keep it that way. I don't like getting in trouble with the law. That's why, I like to live in the woods, because it's survival over getting high.
But how much longer can you live in the woods? I mean, is this something like you see yourself turning 65 and getting your Social Security checks in the woods? I mean,
no. I would like to be into a home and have a job and be retired well before 65 if I could.
But I mean, like, when do you see yourself getting out of the woods? I mean, I'm getting eaten alive right now by mosquitoes.
It's horrible. I can see that.
And
yeah.
I don't understand it. Like, what is so attractive about this?
Well, I guess, really, if I had a choice right now to stay somewhere else than stay in the woods, I would gladly stay at the other place. But the one thing that, keeps me out here in the woods is I've moved into so many different places and had to move out of those places because I wasn't able to afford rent or anything like that right there. And I've gotten so tired of moving. I'm pretty much stuck myself in the woods. So.
How much do you generally earn in a month? If you had to give me kind of a roundabout number, what would you say you average?
A rough estimate? Let's see. I want to say I probably make about $850 a month.
So that's not enough to live independently on your own somewhere, and I don't even know as a single person if you'd qualify for any kind of subsidy. So it seems that a lot of people don't make a living wage these days.
You can't make a life on minimum wage, $7.50 or $8.25 an hour, whatever it is now. And I make $10 an hour at every job I go to, and I work hard, and I'm still barely surviving. Propane's expensive. Fuel for generators is expensive. Not only that, right there, if it rains real hard, you can lose
So it
half
seems
your
to me
stuff.
you're really not choosing this by choice. It's more of you kind of feel defeated by trying to do like everybody else does, but it just seems impossible. So it just in a lot of ways just seems financially easier. I'll just live in the woods.
Yeah.
I'll just barely make it and whatnot. So but it's just such a hard life. But I don't know how much longer realistic you could do this. What's your health like? Do you have any problems? Are you
That I
healthy?
know of, I got some teeth issues from the drug abuse that I went through early on in life, and
Were you doing meth or?
no, I've done a lot of different drugs. It's easier just to talk about the drugs I haven't done.
Okay.
I went for a few years there. I just wanted, try everything out, see what everything was like, and I've done it. I've done heroin, I've done meth, I've done crack, I've done all these hardcore drugs and everything, and the only drug that I like, and I don't consider it to be a drug, I consider it to be a medication, and that's marijuana.
Wow. So do you have any advice for anyone else, who's possibly facing homelessness and in a situation like yours? I mean,
If you're facing homelessness and it's really you have no other option, you want to keep anything valuable that you have on you at all times, because one of the hardest things about being homeless, and I've already gone through it a few times, is you have valuables that you don't want to lose.
such as an ID maybe.
Such as an ID, wallet, social security, maybe it could be pictures of your kids, it could be your dead wife's wedding band or something like that right there, or your jewelry or anything. You always want to keep it on you because, it's a hard world. If you're not at your camp one day and somebody else walks up and they're just that right type of person, they'll take everything you own and leave you with nothing. I've lost 2 tents. I've lost a bunch of sleeping bags. I've lost electronics. I had a very nice laptop at one point, and I loved my laptop. It gave me access to the outside world. I was able to watch movies on it if it was raining. I was able to charge my phone off of it, and if my phone wasn't working, I was able to go down to the park and link onto some Wi-Fi and still be able to contact people like employers and stuff like that right there. And when I lost that right there was a major blow. But on top of that right there, I've lost cell phones, I've lost jewelry, I've lost,
Wow.
it really sucks.
Because you have nowhere to lock it up.
Yeah, you don't. But grab reading material, because being homeless, you want to try and stay off your phone as long as you can, so you have it for emergency purposes, especially if you're living in woods and wetlands like I do, you got to worry about animals all the time. Like I said, hogs and deers. You don't want to be coming outside
Snakes
your tent.
and spiders.
Well, we actually got a snake around here somewhere. He's a 4.5 foot long yellow rat snake, and I've caught him like 3 different times. He stays around the camp and he gets rid of all the rats for us.
Wow.
But
So, so before we go here, is there anyone that you would like to know? You know, someone out there that you would like them to know that you're doing okay, or is there any message you have for anybody or that
Well,
sees this?
I'd like my mom to know that I'm doing all right, and my dad, and you know, my biological mom, and you know, like my brother Val to know that I pray for him and everything all the time. And you know, I just want my family to, in general, know that I'm okay. You know, I do this right here because it keeps me out of trouble, and you know, I miss them all, and I try not to ask them for too much nowadays because I was asked them for so much all the time, and I just want them to know I'm fine, and I wish the best for anybody that has to go through this situation, but do your best to try not to have to be homeless if you can, because it really sucks.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate you spending a minute with us, letting us get to know you.
I'm
Thanks a
proud
lot.
I was able to spend the time with you, and God bless y'all.
Yeah, thank you. All right, man. So can we go back and see where you live?
Yes, I would love to show you. Come on down around here, around this bend. This is where I stay. It's okay. It's not, you know, too extreme, but I like it.
You like this? You like living back here?
I love living back here. It's peaceful, and you know,
So-
I don't really have to worry about, you know, drama out here or anything like that. There, it's very fun.
So what's what? What are we walking past here? What's this blue tent here?
All right, this blue tent that I have right here, that was the original tent that I stayed in. Right now, I use that for storage. And the mosquito tent, well, we have it broke down right now because we were going to move it to a different location.
Okay.
And I have a buddy's tent right there. He's
All right.
not
So this
currently in the area.
this blue and brown tent. This is a buddy.
That's my buddy's bigger storage tent for his stuff.
Okay.
Over here's where I stay.
So this green tent is your main tent. This is where you
This is my
You
main
live?
tent. Yeah. We had a bad rainstorm last night, so I had to move all my mattresses out. It's a little bit messy where it got flooded, but pretty much for the most part, it's, you know, held up for me very well. It's very spacious. There's a lot of room in here.
Yeah, these mosquitoes
Yeah,
are
the mosquitoes
freaking
are
crazy.
atrocious, man.
Wow.
They're out here insane, especially in the morning and everything, because we're surrounded by water where I'm at right now. Like, if you were to walk over there, there's water from there all the way around here, and over there there's water, and I pretty much live almost on an island.
Wow. Well, hey man, thanks for showing us where you live. Struggling with any things that you need, any items?
So a big thing, a small thing, or any size thing of 3 mil painter's plastic would be nice because I can throw that over my tent and make it waterproof.
So kind of like a tarp.
Yeah. And
How about clothing items? Do you
I
need
could use
clothing?
socks and shoes are the one thing I go through the most out here. I'm not even wearing my own shoes today. I wore the soles off the bottom of mine. Paracord, I could use a little bit of paracord, and other than that, propane. I'll take whatever propane I can get because that's how I cook and that's how I, you know, do all my basic amenities. And you know, I could supply pretty much anything else. Battery pack to charge my phone. Other than that, I don't really keep much around, so I don't really have to lose anything.
So food, but you need food. Canned food?
Canned food, yeah. Anything with vegetables, to be honest with you.
Fresh
I
vegetables.
don't really
and
eat
stuff.
much meat. It spoils too fast out here. Fork and knife. I use plastic utensils, and that sucks. And maybe a new sleeping bag.
All right.
Mine's gone after last night.
All right, man. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad I was able to do the interview, and God bless y'all.